Conversations and Opinions. I'm Tarvis.
I'm Karonica.
I'm Shay.
And I'm Clarissa. And today we are going to talk about the girlfriend status. How long is too long to be in a relationship without advancing to fiance or wife? I think this is a subject that lots of people have covered and talked about, but they haven't heard our opinions. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So, do you guys have, okay, first, we've all seen the relationships where people were together for 3 months, got married, and stayed married for 50 years.
Right.
And then we know the people who were together for 20 years, got married, and broke up the next year. So, is there any magic to the length of time it takes for a man to decide that you are his wife or not? And how long do you tolerate, if that's the right word to use, being a girlfriend before you advance to the next stage of a relationship?
I think this is a tricky one because
Very.
I think
Yeah,
that it depends on what you want for yourself.
Yes.
Everyone's
Key.
goal is not marriage.
Right.
So if that's what you go into relationship wanting, then I think maybe, and then the time is still, I don't know, it's just still tricky because like you said, I know people who've been married, who've been together for 20 years. First of all, the commitment needs to be there for the marriage anyway. So you're halfway there if you're committed
Okay.
to each other, because you could be married and not have any commitment.
Ooh,
So
that's a topic.
Scary.
So, but it happens more often than none. But I think that, so it really depends on what you want for yourself. If your goal is to be married and you know how long you want to take to get to know someone,
Yeah.
then that should be a conversation that you have with the person that you're dating at the time. So I don't know if it's a time frame or just the individual.
Again. Conversations. You have to have the conversation when you're dating. And I know, Karonica, you've said in the past that you shouldn't say a lot or divulge a lot. But life is too short. If nothing else, COVID has taught us that. So when you're dating, I feel like just lay it all out there on the line, because at the end of the day, that person has a choice to either deal with it or not. And if you are in a relationship and you haven't had that conversation out the gate, well, what do you date for? Do you date just to be dating? Are you is your end goal marriage? If you don't have that out the gate, then you will get your feelings hurt by waiting on a time frame or 3, 4, 5 dates in. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I don't want anybody to waste my time. So I personally feel like a year.
Okay.
A year is sufficient, and the reason why I say that is because sometimes people bring their representatives, okay? They're not who they're authentically, and you don't like that word, authentically are out the gate. But I'm a fool out the gate. You're going to get that.
Okay.
So when you know what you're dealing with, you can make an informed decision on, do I want to continue to date? Do I see this person as my wife, as my girlfriend? Because I really and truly believe in my heart of hearts that men know.
That's what they say.
Men
Yeah.
know. You can't tell me you don't know. Because I think we all have that gut feeling. So you have to know. So I say again, you have to have these tough conversations out the gate. Don't wait, because when you wait, you're wasting other people's time.
So, in your opinion, is there a certain amount of time that makes it ridiculous to be a girlfriend?
Absolutely.
Is it after the year that you?
I think, and I personally, I'm not going past a year and a half.
Okay.
I'm just not.
I just think for me, I just noticed that when I'm dating someone and I'm able to really just understand whether this is because at a certain age, you understand what you want out of a person. And so with the person that you're dealing with, and depending on what you're doing, why you're dealing with this person.
Yeah.
If you want more than just a sexual relationship, if you want more than just being in a relationship, but you want more like being married or living together or whatever the case may be, you have to understand who the person is and you have to understand who you are. Once you know who you are, then you know what you want.
That's key
And
right there, Shay.
right there, yeah,
You.
exactly.
You.
And I
You
think
have to know who you.
Yes.
And I was gonna say, I think it comes when you said the knowing who you are. I think the age is a big difference too, because it's not, to me, it's not ridiculous if you were dating in your 20s and y'all been together for 8 years. Because in my 20s, I wasn't interested in getting married.
Yeah.
I was still trying to figure out who I was as a person. So if that was your goal in 20s, then it makes sense. But if that wasn't your goal in your 20s, then 8 years might not be for somebody who started dating in high school and then they, went to college. They had things that they wanted to accomplish before they made that step. So that's why I say it just depends. Now, when you get to a certain age, I feel like you're at the age where you know if marriage is important to you or if it's not. And then you can make a decision because now you know who you are, like Shay was saying. But I think that sometimes we look at it as overall. But you got to realize some people have things that they are accomplishing in life and they're finding each other and they're finding themselves as individuals before they come together as a couple and when they're young.
But it just depends because I know couples, like I work at a college and I come across a lot of people who get married at a very young age and they stay together for a very long time. So I know people right now who was 19 years old and was married by the age of 20. And I know a young couple like that, and then I know someone who's of age now and they've been through 20 years and they got married at 19. So it depends on your mentality.
Yes.
It depends on what you want, because just because you're a young person don't mean you don't know what you want.
Correct.
It's all about maturity and how you are about yourself.
Life experiences and all
Life
that.
experiences, all that. I don't think it matters when you decide that you want to be with this person or when you decide that you want to be in a marriage or relationship with this person or okay. So I got 1 year in my mind as with my age saying, okay, within a year, within 6 months, you should know whether you want to be with me. Within a year, we should be planning on getting married. For someone who's younger, they can meet somebody from high school, college, and realize, oh man, we have the same goals. I want to be with you. We can be a power couple, and that's how the younger group think now. So, it just depends. I don't think there is a set time. Really, it's just depending on who you are, because everybody's different. Two couples can come together. I have a good friend who her mother and father came together, and they only known each other for what? Well, I don't think it was a month or so or two, and then they've been together for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
It's your desires.
It's a conversation.
I think that
compatibility.
that's a big one too. I think that the conversations are different depending on whose vantage point you're looking at. Because now things have changed. Women are not necessarily desperate to get married anymore.
Right.
Like I know some women who have been proposed to several times, and they're like, you know what? No, marriage just is not for me.
Exactly.
So I think that we have to get rid of the
Stigma.
stereotype that every woman is dying to be married, and because I think
Right.
sometimes certain guys will date with the intent of being hesitant the whole time because I don't want to be pressured into getting married, and
Right.
the girl might be like, oh, I'm not interested in that either, or
I don't
you're
want
not
that with
anybody
you.
I'd marry. So that's a
Right.
thing too. But I think that if you are in a relationship and you're establishing yourselves as a couple, you've purchased a home, you've done all these things. I enjoy marriage, and I think that marriage is a really beautiful thing, but everybody doesn't feel like that. Some people feel like they can be partnered for 30 years and it be just as substantial. So how do you know how much time, or how do you know if you're being played around with? If you've expressed in the beginning, I'd like to be married, and say for instance, one person wants to be married, and the other one says, well, I'd love to finish medical school first, or I'd love to get through law school first, and then they get done with law school. Now it's another thing. Like, how do you know when you're being played with the marriage thing?
Again, I think it's going to always, for me, come back to a conversation. But we all have that gut feeling. And if I've given you however many years
Yeah.
for medical, and you still, but I don't see where that should be an issue for the
Right.
simple fact of you had the conversation. So out the gate, you should know whether or not your partner you're dating wants to be married. If he or she has said, I don't want to be married,
Yeah.
then what you question
What do
is
you have a
anything
decision to
for.
make.
Why does it matter
Yes.
though? I'm a little confused. I hear people
Yes.
say these, like, make those comments. Oh, after this, I'll do
I'm
this.
with you.
I'm
Let's
a little
struggle
lost.
together. We can
So-
be married and
And
yeah.
it will leave you
So,
after that struggle.
so you going to medical
Yeah.
school prevents you from saying you love me and want to be with me and
That just
want to
means
have a
that-
future with me? I don't understand.
That just means that when people put stuff back, like I said in the beginning, you got some people who want to go through life with goals. Like when they get out of high school, when people tell their kids, you know, go
date,
trips
you
and
do- yeah,
live your
live.
life, you know. So some
Yeah.
people are basically saying that, but they're not saying that. But the thing about it is, no one. Okay. People play themselves. Because
man,
you-
hallelujah,
you-
hallelujah.
You know when you ask for something and somebody, you know your gut feelings. Like when you
Absolutely.
said that, I know exactly what somebody means when they say that. They want to.
They not ready.
They're not ready,
Yeah.
and it's
Right.
okay. But
But they want you to still stay.
That's
right?
the part. That's the part that I'm
Until
talking
they
about.
get
Yeah.
ready,
That's-
but then by the time they get ready, it might not be you.
that's
They wanna
right.
be
Right.
with.
That's the yeah.
and that's
right.
what your choice is, because when somebody says that, that tells you that they're not ready. If you
Yes.
see a year from now, if a person ain't even telling you that's what they're trying to do, then you and then we get mad at the other person. But we got to start taking accountability for,
Yes.
for doing
Yeah,
stuff
that's
ourselves.
true.
Right
That's
there.
very true.
That
At that
You
point,
chose to
you
stay.
saw stuff and added stuff to what that person
Yes.
said. And what they
Yes.
said was, and when somebody says that to me, that's clearly saying that I'm not ready to do this right now.
Yeah.
And you saying, okay, well, I'm going to give it a year. He's going to be good in a year because I'm convinced him in a year.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Oh,
If you
for
gotta
sure. I'm gonna
convince
raise my hand.
a
and take
man
my
or a
accountability.
woman
I
to
did
be
it.
with
Yeah.
you.
I did it.
No, I don't even understand that because, like, why be even in the relationship if I have to convince you
Yeah.
to be in the relationship?
Ooh, now
I don't
see.
want to convince you to do
Yes.
anything because
Yes.
if you ain't falling over yourself to be in a relationship with me, then I don't
Yes.
want you.
And I like
Yes.
what you. I mean, I feel the exact same way about you about the struggle. Like if we are together, and we're 25, but we know we'll be millionaires by 30. Why can't we just struggle together and be married now? Like I
Girl.
feel that way. So when I
Grow
I understand people's sentiment
together.
when they say, "Oh yeah, after college and all that," but then we should not be held to the standard of this is a relationship, and
Exactly.
we just kind of go do our own thing. And then if we still are feeling for each other after 4 or 5 years, then we get back together. But that's ugh.
You're wasting
Okay,
my
so
time.
Wasting my time.
Okay, but
Yeah.
what
I could
you
be
just
have
said,
lots of great
And-
dates and things of that nature,
In
and you're
between.
wasting my time.
You
Yeah.
said at 25, if we feel like we're going to be millionaires at 30, why can't we struggle together? Okay, so say that individual said, okay, well, we're going to struggle. But in the midst of that struggle, they connecting with other people. And after that 5 years, they done found somebody else unbeknownst to you.
But here's the thing: if we
Then
date,
what
then
is
we
that?
still were together anyway. My thing is, if we are a couple, and we've just decided to hold off on the marriage part of the relationship, if we're a committed relationship, what's the difference between us being committed and not seeing other people and being married? I don't see the point. And well, let's after we get the accomplishments together. If we live together, we got kids together, we got a house together, and we're both still doing the things to find ourselves and stuff, then why are we in a relationship?
They don't want to put a ring on it.
That's what it is.
They don't want to,
Yes.
because it's a difference between committing to someone and saying you are the person I want to be with for the rest of my
Yeah,
life.
I don't. When I see those
Well,
relationships,
people, like I said,
Wait a minute,
again,
wait.
people
Say that again.
commit.
Say that again. Wait.
There's a difference between me committing to you and me saying I want to be with you for the rest of my life. I
But
can
isn't
commit.
that what
and
a
I
commitment?
wait. I can commit to you in a relationship, but once I put a ring on it and say I want to be with you for the rest of my life, it's two different things. I can date you and say I want to commit to you.
Oh, so you think the ring makes it better?
No, I said the ring is telling everyone else, me and this person are in a matrimony type of
We're a
situation.
unit.
We
We
are
are-
a unit. We are
But
together.
isn't that the same
There
as a
is
commitment?
nothing that should be
Yes.
able to come
Okay,
in
thank you.
and,
I thought
and,
I was-
and separate that situation.
Well, unfortunately, we live in a world where that is not the case because
why?
I agree with you, Shay.
because of the people are married and not committed.
Come on,
It's- but see,
somebody.
we're not-
Oh
you're-
my
you're
God.
separating.
No, because no.
Yes,
because commitment
Jesus.
starts before you are married.
Okay, well then how do you
Right
get married
there.
if you're not committed
Right
in the
there.
first place?
That's what I'm saying.
That's
That
why
don't make
but
sense.
what I'm saying is it doesn't do the marriage part has nothing to do with what's that showing.
So we
What-
know
I
that
mean,
you have to be
A piece
committed
of
to
paper
be
don't
married.
change
Yes,
your
it does.
commitment.
Yes, it does.
No, it
not
doesn't.
love.
Okay.
Listen. People,
No, the piece of paper doesn't change love, but commitment, you cannot just say marriage isn't anything. Marriage elevates the
No,
relationship.
we didn't say marriage was anything.
No, didn't
What
say
we're
that.
saying is commitment has nothing to do. Commitment starts before the marriage.
Yes.
But we
Right,
know
but
that.
you just said that. But how
But
can
we're-
you be in a marriage if you were never committed? Because y'all said
Exactly.
you can,
No,
you
what
can be in a
she
marriage.
said-
and
No,
not
what
commit.
I said was there's two different situations where people can be in relationships because we're talking about why people aren't getting married and why people are pretending to push off on the marriage. What I am saying is that people can be in relationships and say they want to be committed. But in order for me to be married to, in order for me to say, okay, I want to take that that commitment to another level, and now in order for me to take it to another level, I want to marry you.
No, that's different.
That's
But
that's what I
wh-
said. You
where
didn't hear what I
the
said.
commitment part of it starts with. But I was saying the commitment starts before.
That's
now,
what we're
What I'm
saying.
saying is no, that's not what y'all said.
No,
The-
it's
Go
not.
let her say what she's gonna say because I understand what she's
the
saying.
commitment part starts before.
Yes.
The marriage part is it elevates it to other levels.
That's what we
but,
said.
But it has nothing to do with. You said the commitment part doesn't mean.
I didn't tell you. I didn't say that.
Okay.
Yes, you
Well,
did.
let me
I
ask
did
y'all
not
this
say that
because
You said the commitment was different because you
I
can
said
be
the commitment
committed
is different.
to somebody.
No,
but
no.
marriage.
I am saying that when I'm responding to a conversation that we were talking about when it came down to people saying that they want to go to school and they don't want to do this, and instead of, even though you're in a committed relationship with this person and you're supposed to be in a relationship with this person, but for some reason you don't seem to think that commitment and being a married commitment is as good. Like it's the same thing. Like, so I don't understand. So you're committed, but now you're taking it to another level of putting a ring on it.
Okay, so when y'all say commitment, okay, so what changes for you when you are committed and you're in a relationship? You say this is the person that you want to be with for the rest of your life. 'Cause
Yes.
that should be said before you get married.
right. Okay.
So,
But
wait
everybody's not
a
gonna
minute.
say that when they're just dating.
If you ask the person to marry you,
But wait,
But
I want to
you're
understand
confusing
because
me.
y'all had a hallelujah moment when you said you can be in a marriage and not committed. If you have to be committed before the marriage, how do you get married and are not committed?
because some people are. That's what we said.
we're
Some
not
people
talking
marry
about
people
them
and they
people.
don't want to be married.
But we're not
Okay, so
talking
let me
about
read what commitment said. An engagement of obligation that restricts freedom of action.
So
it silence?
no, ma'am, no, it's not because restricting freedom of action is basically you're saying that a committed relationship is restricting action too. It's not just a marriage that's restricting. So if your premise is I want to wait until we finish these things, these activities, which a commitment says you're restricting, then nobody's committed until you actually get married, because if the word commitment means restricting other activities,
Full of marriage.
that means but what you just read, what was the last sentence?
Hold on.
Restricting activities. So if you're in a committed relationship, what's the difference between committed relationship? What's the difference between me saying let's get married while we're struggling financially? We don't have to wait until we're millionaires.
Okay, it says engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. But it says business commitment underneath.
Yeah. So it
So I'm
changes
going to look up
this-
marriage. Go ahead.
Child.
So this is my thing. If I am in a committed relationship with somebody, and the reason why they don't want to get married is because they're telling me that they have other obligations in their life that is more important before us getting married, then to me, I believe they don't have the they're not ready to
They haven't
marry.
identified that you are the person.
They're like, okay, I'm not sleeping with nobody else, but I'm committed to you. But I have not put myself in a position of
be
only
committed
wanting to
and
be
still
with
sleep
you.
with other
Making
people.
it-
What
And
is
so
making-
people be
listen,
married
listen,
and sleep with
listen.
other people too.
Exactly.
Listen, making that decision in my mind of what marriage is for, not because of not what marriage people made marriage, but what marriage is actually for. If I decide
Marriage
that I don't
is
want
what you make it.
if I decide
Yes.
that I don't want to be in a relationship with someone because of all of my obligations of other things, then that means that I am not ready to fully put myself in a position of being fully with this person.
Okay, so let me read marriage. The legally or formally recognized union of two people as partners in a personal relationship. Historically, in some jurisdictions, specifically a union between a man and a woman.
So if that's the case, why do you have a premise that you only going to be dating for a year and a half before you get to marriage? If you feel like commitment is
all you
commitment,
need.
then why do you care about getting married in a year?
Hold on. I said, if I'm dating you and we had the conversation and you know my timeline, if that ain't where you want to go, first of all, I'm not finna stay in there if you're not trying to marry me. Period.
But that's what we're saying.
But the,
So see, I see it like this is your desire. The definitions are what they are.
That's fine.
But it's your desire. If you say that I could do 2 years, I think that person, that's your thing. But I don't see anything wrong with a person says that they want to wait to.
no, there's nothing wrong with
I think
any
it's
of
based
the
on your
opinions.
desires.
Right,
But that person's just not ready to be in a relationship with you and knowing that you're gonna only be the only person that they're with.
What?
But no,
Y'all
we
done confused
got to
me.
stop jumping around. If you think that commitment is commitment before you get married, why is marriage a requirement for you after a year and a half?
Because
out of
I
it?
want the last name. I want us to do things together. I want to know that you want to make me
But
your
he's committed to you.
what?
But that's
this-
what you're saying, though.
I agree the same way, and I'm married. But see, my when I was dating, I wasn't like, oh, when he gonna marry me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
I
Yeah.
wasn't doing all that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that I knew that was my desire.
Right.
But I know
But
people
did you
who
had a conversation though?
Yes, but
With him?
yes.
Okay.
But I
My
have
point.
But
No, I
I
get
have
that.
people that have not been committed. I mean, has been committed, but decided that marriage wasn't what they wanted to do.
See?
I don't think that their relationship is less than anybody.
Is that someone dating or someone married?
They're
Dating.
not. They're dating.
They-
They just
right.
they're
They're life
committed to
partners.
each
Yes,
other. They're
and-
life
and-
partners.
Without the paper.
What I'm saying is based on your desire.
Correct.
The marriage is marriage. Commitment is commitment. Whether you want to do it is up to you.
Yes.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
So y'all saying, and let me ask instead of assume, are you saying that commitment and marriage is the same thing?
I'm saying that marriage is like I believe it adds on to what that thing said. It is legally binding.
With the ring on it.
It's basically.
It's a piece of paper.
It's a contract.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
lot
Yes.
easier. That's
You
why
said
some
the piece
people.
of paper doesn't change anything, though.
It shouldn't
it
change.
does.
But
your-
why do you care? The paperwork is
doesn't-
changing the last name and doing all the stuff that you said you want. So how is the paperwork not necessary, or it doesn't change anything if for you the paperwork
It's the
gives
same
you
as the-
the
as the
name
first
and all
thing.
the other things that you
Being
said
a-
you wanted as
yeah.
a result of
Well,
it?
if that's the case, we wouldn't have divorce. We wouldn't
Right.
have.
Right.
We wouldn't have anything. We know that everybody has good intentions on everything. So, if the paperwork was a miraculous thing that
That
it changes
changes
everything,
and
But what is
then
it? The only thing,
But
only
that's-
change it
but-
does is say solidify that you and this person are coming together as a unit.
yes. But I'm saying the commitment is still there, regardless if you do it or not.
That is okay.
I'm not understanding
even
where
though
you're going with it,
even though
though.
y'all have a more similar opinion than y'all have with us, y'all actually have different opinions too, because
Okay, let me explain. Commitment. If I'm in a relationship, we have had a conversation. Sir, I date to get married.
okay,
Yes.
I want to be married. I'm not going to waste your time.
Okay.
Please don't waste mine.
right,
So if marriage is not your end goal with me, then wish you well.
Then I'm the man, and I say, well, I want to get married one day too, but before I get married, I want to do this, and this. And you would have to wait until I'm done with those things before we get married.
Then you have a choice.
Right. And then my next question is, your time frame is what to do this, and this. Because again,
It could be 3 years,
yeah, that doesn't work for me, sir. Appreciate your time.
and that's what I
And-
am saying.
and that's
He did not.
it's a
He was not
conversation.
ready.
Okay,
for
but
the
it was a
same thing that you were.
conversation.
But that's not. We're not saying that that's not a
But
conversation.
I was talking about strictly the commitment part.
And that's why I said y'all have similar
Yeah,
opinions,
but not the same.
I
same
agree
opinion.
with what she's saying. I'm looking
I
at
understand
it.
what she's saying.
If you come in a relationship and you have an end goal, that's like if you want kids
Yeah.
and somebody doesn't want, you should
Right.
be able to say what you want out of a relationship, and that
Exactly.
person should be able to say what they want out of a relationship.
Exactly. And you
now,
just make a
if you don't
decision.
want to get married, it's like,
You
oh
make a
my God,
decision.
that's your
You make
choice.
a
There's a lot of
decision.
things that we do and don't want to do, but I just feel like if you're committed, you're still committed. I know people who have healthy relationships who are committed, but they never got that. They never walked down the aisle. They've been married.
Right.
They've been
Me
living
too.
together.
Right. Me
so,
too.
So
Yeah, that was their
but
choice.
It was. That's what I said.
Right,
It's a
but that's-
choice.
But that's not what we're talking about.
Right. Right.
I was picking off of what she said about commitment. That's
I
where
was
came
thinking
from.
back about us having this conversation, dealing with the fact that there are some people who prolong certain things just to hold on to someone when they're not ready for the same thing this other person is ready for.
Right, because y'all had said, and if I believe you can get married too young, and you go through all the stuff, and then you break up anyway because you
Okay.
got married before the person was ready. But that can happen to you in a
Well,
committed
no, I
relationship
said
too.
Yes.
that people.
But again, it's still
That's why I was saying. I was
It's
basically
all
saying-
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah, we-
I don't think anything. My whole thing is,
Nobody's
I don't
not
think
saying
it's
it's not.
anything wrong when kids get out of school. They don't have to get married. If they say, "Hey, I want to travel the world. I don't want to have kids right away. I want to do all this stuff."
Yeah.
I don't think it's wrong. I think it's a choice.
Right.
I don't think anyone can tell you because I don't want to be married that you're a bad person.
That's
I don't
right.
think anybody can tell you because you don't have kids that you're not a woman.
That's
I don't
Exactly.
think that it's. You should have to be set to, well, if you don't get married, you're not part. I just feel like it's a choice. And if you and that person agree on whatever it is, then that's a choice. If you say, hey, I do want to get married, I've told my friends she wanted to get married, and the guy that she was dating at the time wasn't trying to get married right away. And I said, she was like, well, I don't really know if I care about it.
See?
And I said, well, you need to find out if you care about it.
Right.
Because if you truly
Right.
don't care about it, then
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
If y'all still have the commitment there, y'all love each other, y'all living the life, then if you don't care about the marriage part, then continue doing what you're doing.
There was an episode, real quick, Couch Conversations. Tabitha Brown and her husband, they have a subsidiary under the Black Love umbrella. Chance and Tabitha were in the middle. There was another couple on the other side that had been married 20 plus years. And then there was another couple who
I saw that one.
You saw that one? So the girl, they had been together 7 years. She wanted to be married.
Okay.
The guy didn't.
Okay.
So she said, she kind of said, well, I had already made peace with the fact that I may not ever get married. The couple on the other side were like, well, what's the point? She had changed her opinion based on her partner. She didn't say that on the show, but that's what the other couple was kind of getting at. Are you really okay with not being married, or have you made yourself okay with not being married because the guy you love isn't going to do it? So that's a different thing too.
Yeah,
like
that's-
you can say we're committed because she said the words, but her face didn't say that. Her face and her hopes and dreams before that changed because she's with the guy that she loves, but he doesn't want to get married.
But
So
Tabitha
here-
Brown had the same situation too, and she said that she had came to a point where like, when he broke it down, oh yeah, you're right,
And then
he
he-
changed his mind.
Yes.
So it just depends.
So let me get back to the commitment part with regard to dating and the marriage. I have a friend, they've been dating almost 20 years.
Me love you a long time.
Yes. When he got sick with COVID, she had no authority to make any decisions.
Right.
And that's where I said about the marriage, it has to be because I can't be in a long committed relationship for 7 or 8 years, you get sick. I have no authority, and somebody else come in on that's a no for me.
But that's what I was trying to say. You said the
That's a
piece
no
of
for
paper
me.
doesn't change anything, but yes, it does.
But that's where we were going to, that the piece of paper changes
Yes.
based off of what we just read the definition. But you
Because
guys,
it's a legally binding
well, that's what we were
contract, and
saying.
that's what society
That's what
looks
changes
at.
the thing. No, that's why I told her to read the definition, because the commitment part is commitment.
Because we're all saying the same thing, and for some reason, nobody seems to think that we're saying the same thing. We're all saying the same thing exactly.
Well, what y'all think?
Right,
Because
right.
We didn't had it out of here.
I'm like, what?
So Shay and I live in a fantasy world where we're gonna make it and we're gonna be fine together.
Yay,
and
grow,
Thomas and
yay.
Chronica,
We took one to different heights.
and there's no wrong way to look at
No.
this.
No,
Some people
no.
get together and they both have the fairy tale in their minds. I'm your Prince Charming. I'm your beautiful princess. You've saved me, and we're gonna run off into the sunset. Other people say, look, I'm in law school. You're in med school. Let's get through this rough stuff, and then we're gonna be together. We'll be each other's support system, and then we'll get married after that. And it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Other people say, Mary Jane, for me, I don't even care about that piece of paper, and that works for some people. So I guess it's just a matter of what you want, and like I
Right.
said, with the choices. But
So I guess the commitment part is either the commitment is commitment, as Karonica said, which I do agree.
in your
So-
heart and in love, but then when it
Yes.
comes down to it and they die and you don't have any rights.
And that's what
now
you have to
wish you
define
had-
Exactly.
how important that is to you. But again, as women, and that's why I'm standing strong, because I hate when people say, and I use that word, because I hate when people put women, because it's usually us in that standard where it's like, if we don't do stuff where they figure trigger, because we are known to be the ones that have to be married, or
Yeah.
begging to be married,
Yeah.
or have to have kids.
Yeah.
And when that's the first thing people ask, well, why are you not married? Why don't you have kids? And to me, that is insulting.
It is.
It's because I feel like everyone should have a choice on how
Yes.
they live their
Yes.
life. If they don't want to be married for whatever reason, that might not be for them. We don't live in a world where you're brought up to just be groomed to give to some man. If that's not what you want to do, you
don't have to
you
do
don't
that.
have to do
Everybody
it.
has a choice.
That's
Yeah.
true, but in the committed relationships that are long term, that you've built so much together, like Tarvis was saying, now you're 30 years in, and everything that you've built is null and void.
But it just
Yes,
depends
ma'am.
on your,
Yes,
and that
ma'am.
still is your choice if you care about that.
Well, talk to that woman who been with her husband, with her man.
Yeah, we
Not
need to
her
have some
husband.
people who been
talk
on
to,
different
Talk to that
ones.
woman who been with her man for 20 years
And can't go in the room when he got
passed
caught.
away.
No, he didn't
And,
pass away.
No, she just.
This is my
like,
scenario. My scenario.
Don't
kill 'em
speak
all.
that out into the universe.
And he has, and he's gone, and he's passed away. He's gone home, and now her family is trying to take the house that she live in.
But we do have
See,
other
talk
ways,
to her- talk to me
ladies.
about the
We're in
woman
2022.
who lost her her car because it was in her boyfriend's name, who she was living with for 20 years.
Yes.
But yet
Yes.
they're trying to take all of her everything she has.
Now we do
Then-
live in
then-
2022.
and then talk to that particular female who's already been through it. Now she was cool in the beginning, of
'Cause he
course,
loved
but
her.
then
Well, I'm not saying be a silly woman.
Right.
Because it is. We live in 2022.
But this is what we're
it's ways
talking
to
about.
protect yourself
Well,
that you
yeah,
don't
but
have to.
but here, okay, the commitment. Okay, there's 17 different conversations because me and you talked yesterday, and it was like, have your own stuff. Agreed.
Yes.
1,000%. You should never be in any situation where every single piece of your life is dependent upon
Exactly.
this
Ooh,
union.
now that right
Or,
there,
you
that
know,
right
so
there.
everybody, and that's for everybody. That's for the man. That's for the woman.
Yes.
We talked. Karonica and I talked yesterday about the importance of gentlemen knowing how to cook and wash clothes and stuff
Yes.
like that, because gender
Yes.
roles are being dissolved or being, they're not traditional anymore.
Right.
So, but some people, like myself, traditional marriage is the way for me,
And
that may not be for
Right.
everybody else.
And I agree, for me it is too, but I'm not knocking, I don't want to knock down in, because I know people do it different ways. And
Yeah.
they might be
Yeah.
looking at us like, I'm in a committed relationship, we got something set up if that happens. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
and that's good.
So that's what I'm saying. You don't have to be not educated about your situation to do it. It's just really what works for you. Like I said, people think that women should have 3 or 4 kids. We should not. You got some people who feel like you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I just feel like it's what you desire. If you come in a relationship saying, hey, a year, then if that person said, oh, that time frame don't work for me, then he has the choice to move on.
It feels like so many business transactions when it comes to love. And for me, that's what removes the romantic part of love. I'm not saying that you have to be a silly woman like you were just saying, or a silly man, but look, y'all, I'm not about to, everything's not a business transaction. Some of this stuff is truly about love, affection, togetherness, building, and things like that. So that's where this all spawned from. Me and Shay saying, why can't we struggle together?
We were talking about the topic of this discussion.
Yeah.
But when we start going outside of the topic of discussions and talking about other things other than how long would you wait until it's time to say, hey, either I'm going to be deuces or we're going to figure out what's going on.
Well,
that was our answer to that.
Yeah, my final thoughts on this again is commitment is commitment. You just have to have the conversation. And at the end of the day, after that conversation, you have a choice. And don't let, just because you love somebody, waver what you want for your life.
Right. And I'm going to piggyback off of that. I feel that way too. I believe in traditional marriage, but I also believe in women and men should be able to live the life that they want. You shouldn't be forced to do anything that you don't want to do, and because at the end of the day, no one's going to be happy. So I just feel like if you're in a committed relationship, it's up to you. But like you said, have the conversations of what you guys want for your relationships.
Yes.
All right, then.
Amen. I too agree in traditional marriage. Every situation is different for everybody. Even people who all believe in traditional marriages, they're all set up differently too. Some traditional marriages, the wife does this, the husband does that, and that's the way it is. Some traditional marriages, they got married the traditional way, but the husband does all this with the kids and the wife does all this, and we have our roles. So everybody's relationship is going to be different. Like everybody agrees here. Do what is best for yourself and your life.
Do what you want to do.
And don't compromise yourself based on somebody else's
Absolutely.
readiness,
Don't ever do
availability,
that.
or resources.
Never.
Yes.
Never.
And let the church say,
Amen.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
Remember to like, comment, and thank you. Thank you for subscribing and watching Conversations and Opinions.
Bye.